Welcome to Bar Z. I'm Stan. It's been a while since I did a week update, and things have been just crazy busy around here. But I thought I'd update you guys and do a few cuts to a few things that have been going on. We had a lot of things that happened and that I didn't get on video. There's quite a bit of stuff going on. First, I'd like to recognize a few from my last week update. It was Owen Giles and Ron Estes. They both guessed correctly on the die setter bar. I would have accepted a die setting bar, a die stripping bar, or a die spring compressor. That bar is commonly known as that, or those three. But there was a mix-up with the Google timestamps, and I think it goes by time zones. If they're in a different time zone than me, 1 hour ago, 3 hours ago, whatever. The way I was reading it, Ron was the winner. But the way other people were reading it, Owen was the winner. And Ron was being a very good sport, and he just said, give it to Owen. So Owen, you got a pair of squares coming at you. I've already got his mailing address. He's down in Australia. So those are coming at you. And thanks for playing, though. It was actually kind of fun. A lot of guys did some guesses there. All right, so that's out of the way, and congrats again to Owen Giles. The other thing is people tell me stuff a lot of times, and I just do a double take. I was working with an apprentice the other day, and you just got to say, what? I didn't catch that. This apprentice I was working with climbed a ladder the other day to work on a pipe rack, and he went up there with a wrench in his back pocket and went to undo some clamps, and he hollered down that his wrench was the wrong size, and I said, well, what size do you need? And he says he needed a bigger 7/16. So that was a record scratch. What did you say? All right, so we'll get you a bigger 7/16, buddy. That's also known as a half inch. All right, next up. I had a visit from a dear friend. That was the main reason I didn't shoot any week update last week. Her and her husband came into town from Texas and spent some time with me here, and they kept me pretty busy. And the very day that they were due to arrive, they drove. The very day they were due to arrive, they were due in about noon, 1 o'clock. We were just finishing up a job out in the valley, which is San Fernando Valley, which is roughly, 30 miles from here. We were just finishing up a job. The guys were over there doing the final detail and cleaning up and pulling off the job. All I had to do was run out and get the trailer and get back home and get cleaned up right before they rolled in. Best laid plans, everything was going to be good. So booked it out there about 8 a.m., got the trailer hooked up. I was going to roll back over here about 9:30. Thought I'd swing by the steel yard, pick up some steel in the trailer. I can grab 20-foot sticks of steel in the trailer. So went straight from the job site, went down to the steel yard with the trailer, and this is a 24-foot enclosed trailer, about 10,000-pound trailer. So I get down there, walk in, place my order. They said, okay, go pick it up back in will call, just drive around back. So I went out, jumped in the truck, and went down, took a U-turn. It's a little side street down in Ontario. And there's a rail spur where these rail tracks cross the road, and they all converge on the street, so they converge at about 3 or 4 different directions. So there's a couple of spurs there and let outs, but there's never a train there. And the street widens right where these rail tracks are. And I just took the truck and trailer down there, and I went to flip a U-turn right on the rail tracks. Everything's flat, everything's nice, and knifing the trailer around the corner, one of the front axle tires catches a rail track right while I'm in the middle of my U-turn, and just twists the axle sideways. And let's cut to that. I'm going to show you the actual failure. Hey guys, I thought I'd show you the axle failure of the trailer. Spring purchase here, spindle went out here, and you can see I've got a very small part that was actually bandsaw cut. I'll actually highlight that with a little bit of white paint pen here. This is the only place that where I actually had to get in there and cut it, was there and right here. So where you see the white there is where I had to cut. The rest of it is fail. And if I hold this up in the camera and line up the white, here you can see the extreme of how badly broken that axle was on the trailer. This was right out by the leaf spring, but and you can see the weld failure right along there, and see the separation there. But when I line up where it was actually cut, you can get an idea of how bent and broken that axle was and how bad the failure was. Now, what I did was, after I just made a rough cut with a Sawzall here and got this piece out of the trailer, and then I chucked up the actual spindle itself. It was a forged steel spindle that actually slipped inside this pipe, about a ½ an inch. And I got in there with a piece of carbide and cut out the weld. And I got the inspiration from Adam over at A-Bomb 79. I saw him cutting the head off of a very large hydraulic cylinder and getting cut through the weld. So I thought I'd give that a shot myself. So it works pretty good. Just got to watch the first little bits when you get an interrupted cut. It'll really snap your carbide, but after you get it rolling, it gets through it just fine. And it turns out that axle was just Schedule 80, 2-inch pipe. You know, no big mystery there. So just had to make a new tube and use the existing spindles, weld them together, and back on the road. And back, and you can see how that damage was instant. I think that axle was probably failing for a long time. I had never noticed any negative camber on that, but it must have been weak. It must have been cracked, and that was just the final straw. And I'm glad it didn't happen at highway speeds. It just happened in the middle of a U-turn. But anyway, stands in the middle of a U-turn, broken axle on the trailer, wheel just into the wheel well, dragging the trailer, blocking California Street down in Ontario, sideways on the rail tracks. Truck and trailer not going anywhere. So thought that was probably a bad idea, just in case the odd train comes by to pick up a car or unload a car or whatever. So I put it in 4-wheel low and literally drugged the trailer, kicking and screaming, off of the rail tracks. So got it to the side, and this whole time, the clock's ticking the whole time. My friends are showing up at noon or 1 o'clock. First tow truck showed up. I called. I said, I need a big flatbed for my trailer. I got a 10,000-pound trailer. You're gonna have to winch it up. It doesn't roll. I need a big flatbed. So the first tow truck that showed up didn't listen to me. They said, what do you need towed? I go, I need my trailer towed, but I need a flatbed. And they sent a sizable truck, but it wasn't a flatbed. So first truck showed up. I said, go get me the right one. And he said, yeah, we got a truck that'll do that. You should have told us. I said, I did, but whatever. Anyway, second tow truck shows up, Peterbilt, tilt bed, got my trailer up on there, finally got it home. I finally got me, the truck and trailer, broken axle, everything back here by 1:30, 2 o'clock. My friends are already here. I'm greasy, I'm sweaty. It was just a busy day. And then over the next few days during their visit, I repaired the axle. So I had no time to shoot any video, nothing. It would have made a good YouTube video. The axle was made out of 2-inch Schedule 80 pipe. It was all that was a Dexter axle. Made out of 2-inch Schedule 80 pipe. And the The stubs on the end, which were the spindles, were a forged steel with a very small stub that slips into the pipe, welded around. And then the spring perches and everything are just commercially available. You can get those. But Dexter needed 2 weeks to get an axle made for me, and I couldn't wait. And I started looking at it. It wasn't that hard, so I went ahead and fabbed the axle tube myself. But getting the spindles back in, you know, after I cut out the welds on the lathe and got the tube cut to length and putting the stubs back in, you know, that was kind of interesting. I got it up on the welding bench, got on V-blocks, got it rotating, got indicators on it, tack welded, and you know, keep spinning the tube to make sure that spindle's not getting wobbly on me and stuff. And I got both spindles welded in within about 15 thousandths of run out, so I'm calling that good. And I both got them the same way, so I actually angled them down so they have positive camber in the vehicle, and when the vehicle loads they kind of straighten out. So I made my own trailer axle, and I was doing that off and on with my friends here. You know, they'd go out to dinner or something, and I'd sneak up here at the shop and do some stuff. And, you know, I was doing it off and on in the middle of my visit, so it was hectic. I shot no video. It would have made a great YouTube video, how to make or repair a trailer axle. But that's that. And as far as my friends knew, I was available to them most of the time. You know, they'd come back from dinner and where's Stan? Always up in the shop. And they'd come up here and I'm welding and working feverishly to get that axle either out or in or straight or welded or cut or doing little steps at a time. And it just kind of happened over a 3-day period to getting that trailer fixed. So that's that. Next up, before they showed up, I was doing a small job over in Santa Fe Springs, California. Some of you know where that is. That's down 605, about halfway down. And over there, that's right next to McMaster Car, which it's literally right across the street from where I was working, and it was just a massive place. It's about one city block of various buildings. They've acquired all the buildings over that city block, and they're just this huge industrial building. But and right around the corner from them is a place called Standridge Granite, and I did make a visit over there. I picked up an angle plate, and it was a very good price. It was a factory blim, and basically what it was is it had a hole drilled in it for setting. They were doing the threaded inserts in there, and they had a hole drilled in there, and then someone changed their mind and said, no, I don't want an insert in there, and now they got an angle plate with a hole in it. And outside of that, I mean, I got a calibration certificate, everything, literally half price, and they've got a lot of the stuff over there. If you do need granite and you're in the Southern California area, Standridge Granite is in Santa Fe Springs is very good, and I enjoyed my visit over there. This is the front of their building. And back, and I got good news and bad news. The guy's name there is Tony, and he's a great guy, and he gave me a quick shop tour. You know, we got to talking. I'm only buying an angle plate that's like $100, and he said, yeah, come on back to the shop and I'll show you around real quick. And I shot video. That's the great news. You know, I got to see a precision granite shop, and I shot some video. The bad news is I put my finger on the button of the camera while I was shooting around, and I paused it the entire time. So I don't have any video. So I did attempt to shoot video, and I have a video fragment. Here's a video fragment. You got a picture of that. And back. As you can see, there's not much, but I know they caught a glimpse of that surface grinder. That thing is huge, and biggest surface grinder I've ever seen up close. But that was a very impressive shop. And if you need granite, you should probably talk to Tony over there. Great guy. The whole staff is great over there, and they can resurface your old plate. They can fix stuff. You know, if you got angle plate that's out, or something got dropped or chipped or whatever. They've actually got some epoxy fillers. They can fill up chips and make repairs on plates. And they'll give you a calibration certificate so they can recert your plate and get it flat again. Gave me some cleaning tips. Gave me just a great guy and great people to deal with. I'm not affiliated with them, but if you need granite, Stanbridge is the place to go. Next up, the dial arc. That's my new TIG. I've been learning how to set the machine, and then, and it's just by dumb luck. I start getting my settings close, and I know when it's right. When I sit there and I'm working my way along, and I start getting close to my settings being right, and I got some pretty decent welds. I did some aluminum, did a little stainless, tried it on some mild steel. I've been using a squirt gun for years, which is just a plain old MIG, point and shoot. And if it's a little dirty, who cares? Just blaze over and let it float to the top. But TIG is clean, clean, clean. So and it's time consuming because you got to prep your joints and do your welds, and the welds are just slow as hell. I'm used to the MIG where if you want to speed up, you just crank up the feed and go. But the TIG is definitely slower, but it's a lot neater. So I got my machine dialed in where I'm happy with the aluminum welding. I'm happy with the steel welding. Although it's very slow, it's a very tiny, very precise little weld. I'm still working on my pedal skills. The pedal is I'm a pedal masher. I'm not a floater. I don't modulate enough, so I just pin it to the floor like I'm driving a car and stay there. So and that's all about adjusting the machine. So anyways, that's a dial arc. It's dialed in. Next up is work. I didn't have that much work. We had Father's Day, and then I had my friends come in from out of town for a 4 or 5 day stretch, and then we had just had Independence Day, and just haven't had any time for anything. But work, I did do a small annealing oven. It's a very low, long annealing oven. This is for annealing aluminum to soften it up, so they can, they're just extrusions, so they can get them in a slip roll and arc them. But here's visiting that job site real quick. Another little project. This is a high temperature annealing oven. Control panel. Little tiny thing. Cute little door. You got a set of rail tracks that run in it. And it's for annealing aluminum strips. And we'll try to get you in there. I'm hoping that won't get too oh yeah, I can still see in there. That's an 800-degree oven. That's why it's got an insulated floor. And you can get an idea how thick the walls are on this thing. That's how thick the door is. So it's a foot thick all the way around. So it's a cute little oven. You don't even need a ladder for this job. All we brought was a little bench just to jump up on top to get to the gas train. We just got a little plug blower in the back for recirculation. Pretty cute. There's a big oven. That's kind of what we're used to there. So that little one's just a little tiny thing. Powder coat booth and a powder coat oven there. But this one's going to be used for annealing. So we're just started wiring it. Mechanical's all done. Gas line's done. We're just getting started on the wiring. And back. And that oven does annealing on 20-foot lengths, and what it'll do is they ramp up the aluminum really hard and fast, or they'll already have the oven at temp when the parts go in. So they're going to ramp it up hard and fast. But then in the temperature controller, it's got an internal clock, and you program it to come down in 20-degree increments. And basically, they're going to ramp the aluminum down very slowly so it anneals. And I think they brought it down 20 degrees per half hour, and they did it. You can do it, you know, out of the book. Those controllers are Yokogawa, Japanese-made Yokogawas. So it's fully linear. If you tell it 50 degrees every 20 minutes, it'll just do 1 degree increments. You can just see it stepping down, boom, boom, boom. Every 30 or 45 seconds, it'll come down like 1 degree, whatever. So if you just give it a start point and an end point, it'll create the linearity in between. So that was our programming challenge for the annealing oven. Anyways, that job's done. Oven working, finished. Next up, I had a little Craigslist find I couldn't pass up. Here's a little Do More tool post grinder. Here, let's cut to that. This is a little Do More, little tiny thing. And this is the next, I think you guys have seen Tom's that he just got. And this is the next size down from that. Actually, this is the smallest that Do More makes. And this is a cute little guy, I tell you. Tiny little thing. Not a single guard on it. The instructions I downloaded did show a guard over the belt and over the grinding wheel, but this kit was incomplete, did not have that. But I've got an extra set of little step pulleys, and this was for 7 to 10 inch lathes. So, and it works okay on mine. I mean, I got a 14 inch, but it works okay. I have to, I had to make a spacer to get it up high enough to work with the bigger lathe. But trust me when I say this thing is a glorified Dremel. It runs really, really smooth. But man, this thing is, let's see, it's rated at 1/14 horsepower. You can freeze frame it there and read that tag if you like. But 1/14 of horsepower, trust me when I say that ain't much. But runs really smooth, and this gives me the ability to make my little 60-degree points and things that, little stuff that I do. But you can't be in a hurry, and just let it take its time and let it remove the material. You're not going to do any hogging with this thing, so get it as close as you can before you break this thing out. For the price I paid for it, I couldn't pass it up. It was a Craigslist. I just came across it. It was just posted. So even though it's not the right size for my lathe, and I'm probably not going to keep it, I wasn't gonna pass it up. So I grabbed it. So anyways, that's my little Do More grinder. I am looking for the next size up unit. But this thing is for if someone's got a little tiny lathe and wants to get into some tiny grinding. And this is just for the smallest stuff. When this thing's running at full speed and the wheel speed is, let's see, yeah, the idling speed is 22.5 on the motor. And the loaded is 10,000. So 22,000 unloaded, 10,000 loaded. Even at 22,000, you can just literally just reach down and go and just stop this thing. This thing just is nothing. So you need to be removing the smallest amount of material or you'll stall this thing. Anyways, I am looking for the next size up. If you have need for a small grinder, shoot me an email and maybe we can work out a trade or something. But if anyone has any interest in this little guy, let me know. All right, thanks. And back. And that little grinder, I guess, is for sale. I had to make a bunch of spacers and space it up to fit my machine. And for me, it's underpowered. It's a glorified Dremel. It's got about as much power as a Dremel. It's just nothing. And if you're doing just some little light finish grinding, it'll work fine. I think I want the bigger one. I think it jumps up to a quarter horse is the next size up, and that's what I'm still looking for, is a quarter horse tool post grinder. So even though it's off the board on the shop once, I'm still on the prowl for a I guess it's the number 2 size tool post grinder. And do more. It's a good little grinder. I'd like to stick with that brand. What I am looking for now, and I had the need for it the other day, and the need is past. I got through the job, but I'm looking for one of those. It's a little 5C 3-jaw chuck. You know, the little 3-inch or 4-inch, just something small. And I think I'd like to. It'd be handy on the lathe every once in a while if I'm set up for collets and want to chuck something odd up in there. I can just throw it in the collet setup without having to break the rig down. But it might be handy in the Spindex too, you know, to throw that in the Spindex. So I am looking for a non-import 5C 3-jaw chuck that's in good shape. If you've got one to sell or trade, shoot me an email right up at the top. Anyways, last up, Independence Day yesterday. Hope everyone enjoyed their Independence Day. It's not the 4th of July without a trip to the burn ward, ever. This year we didn't blow anything up. No acetylene bombs, no Nevada fireworks from the Indian Res over there. We took a $2,200 citation last year for blowing stuff up. So this year we were pretty mild-mannered, and we had a lot of drive-bys by the local police department keeping their eye on us, and we were all pretty well behaved. But I hope everyone remembers why you're celebrating Independence Day. It's not just a reason to have a 3-day weekend. This is celebrating our independence from England. And you guys over in the UK, that was a long time ago. I hope you've gotten over it. We're doing fine over here. I hope you guys are okay with that. But thanks for your concern. All right, that's the end of this week update. Thanks for tuning in to my weekly show. Sorry I skipped a couple of weeks, but it's been pretty crazy around here. This is Stan from Bar Z Industrial, signing off. Have a good week and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye now.